Hey, what is up, everybody? In today's video, I got myself here a copy of Metaphor Refantazio for the Xbox Series X. No Xbox One version to speak of, as um, they decided most likely that it just wasn't worth it. Um, which is interesting because the very same year, they actually released an Xbox One version of Persona 3 Reload. But for this game, they decided to uh, do away with the Xbox One. That's not to say they couldn't have done it, of course. This game actually got a PS4 version, which is digital only. So, needless to say, the Xbox One, it just wasn't worth it. PS4, a bit more worth it, just not to the point where they could justify a physical copy in North America, anyways. I'm not sure if they've got a physical PS4 somewhere, but uh, I haven't seen it. But yeah, I actually got this several months ago, but I haven't actually opened it because the game's actually on Game Pass, and really the reason I primarily picked it up was because of how cheap it was. This is at the time that I picked it up, $20 for a game that's only a year old was a fantastic deal, especially for like a JRPG that was highly acclaimed when it uh, uh, when it released. This was fundamentally a Persona game without being a Persona game. It's just Persona in a fantasy setting, and with uh, with some improvements on the Persona formula, like being able to continue battles even if the main character is knocked out. Sorry. But yeah, as you can see here, Awaken. The throne sits empty after the king's assassination. With no heirs, the will of the late king decrees that the next monarch will be elected by the people, and thus begins your fight for the throne. Travel, be- travel beyond fantasy. So, optimized for Xbox Series X, single player, 4K Ultra HD, ray tracing, and yeah, it doesn't say how much space it takes up. But I already know how much space it takes up because I had it installed previously. It's actually 70 gigabytes, which is much larger than a standard Xbox One Blu-ray disc. And as a result, the game actually comes on two discs. I actually did not know this when I picked it up until the person at EB Games plopped the disc into the uh, into the case here. But yeah, let's actually open it up, or try to open it up. Now, I will say I am a little worried because, well, Atlas is a bit infamous, or actually Sega in general, I should say, is a bit infamous for re-releasing their games multiple times with like added content and stuff. Persona was like egregious with this. They re-released Persona 5 multiple times. Of course, you had it on. It was across. It was supposed to be PS3 exclusive. Then it got a PS4 port released the same day. Then they released Royal, where you could not transfer your save file, which is a pretty big deal because it's a 100+ hour game. Okay, so we have here, and yeah, and of course of course Persona 5 got a multi-platform release, so yeah, that really doesn't help. You know, re-releasing your game multiple times over and over again can actually hurt the game's reputation a bit because if I start Persona 5 Royal and then they announce on PS4, sorry, and then they announce, oh hey, we got Persona 5 Royal again, but now it has all the DLC. Well, and I can't transfer my save file over. Well, that kind of sucks. And I can't, and there's no like cross promotional offer where if I have the PS4 version, I get the PS5 at a discount, if not free. And Persona 3 is also like even worse with this because they promised there would be no additional content, but then they released episode Igus, which was not included in the season pass initially, and yeah, that was ridiculous. But it would not surprise me necessarily if they decide to, well, release release a newer version of this game with extra content. I rumor has it there's a Switch 2 version, which I totally believe is most likely in the works already. Um, I'm sure they must have wanted it to bring it to. I'm sure they must have wanted to bring this game to Switch, but they couldn't because it would have taken too long. Like with Persona 3 Royal, that's why there's no Switch 1 version of that. Because see right here, pre-order the DLC packs, Archetype EXP chess set, and Adventure Journeys pack. Oh, okay. It's actually a code on the back. Okay, okay, that's interesting. So, I'm not sure if it's already been used though. So, yeah, we'll see. I we'll see if it has. It'd be interesting if it hasn't, and I get to claim it. I always love it when I'm able to, whenever I buy a used game and then find out I can actually claim the code because the previous owner didn't. So we have disc 2 over here, and then we have disc 1, which, okay, interesting. Yeah, I really, I gotta, it's so cool. Like, I think this is actually the very first, if not like, yeah, this is like the very first like Xbox Series X game that I own that comes on 2 disc. I can't think of any other game that has this off the top of my head. Usually, especially now with Xbox physical games, it's there's barely anything on the disc at all. Like Call of Duty is like the worst example of this. Even like they couldn't even be bothered to put the campaign on the disc, which sucks. But yeah, let's actually go down to my living room and actually pop this in because I have the I've got my Xbox One here, but obviously the game's not going to load. So let's hop to it. Okay, let's start with disc number 2. Popping it right into the Series X. Okay, now let's see what happens. Metaphor needs a 43.5 gigabyte update. Okay, so putting in disk 2. Okay, what if I update later? Oh, okay, wow. 75.42 gigabytes is actually on the disk. Interesting. Okay, well, you know what? Let's actually do this again, but let me cancel this and then let's start up the update. Okay, so upon restarting, it says I need a 70 gigabyte patch. Okay. So 26.93 is actually on the disk. 43.47 is the patch. Okay, that's interesting. But that's just disk 2. The question is, will I get the same thing if I try to install with disk 1? Okay, so I removed disk 2. Now let's see what happens when I try to put in disk number 1. Okay, same logo appears. Now let's see what happens. Oh, wow, it switches to the new logo right away. Interesting. So same storage size. And the same update. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so this disk also has 26.93 gigabytes, so that's about 52 gigabytes. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. I'm rather curious, like, what would happen if I install the game while the Xbox is not connected to the internet? Like, I'm, I'm, I guess maybe the game's just not in a playable state. I really couldn't tell you. I honestly don't want to necessarily do that because that's a bit too much of a hassle. So I'll just leave it here for now. Uh, with that said, I will be installing, or actually trying out that download code. Okay, so upon entering the code, yeah, it does work. It does actually work. Yeah, that's actually really nice. I got a free extra content in my used copy. That's really uh, nice. Okay, it even shows up in the download section. Adventures Journey Pack and Archetype EXP chess set. Okay, all right. That's neat. But yeah, that pretty much does it for this video, guys. It does look like I'm having some issues installing it, unfortunately. Not sure if it seems like the disk is having, disk number 1 is a bit dirty. So yeah, that might be a problem. But thankfully, even if the disk is scratched up or dirty, yeah, like right here, what I can do is I can go to the store and download the game from there. The Xbox store, that is, and just as long as the game disc is installed, I can just install it from there. Which is a nice feature that Microsoft has to combat discs being dirty or damaged. So long as the console can still read the at the very least recognize the game. But yeah, but now thankfully I already have the game installed. This was really just a test. I had the game through Game Pass, so all I have to do is just plug in my hard drive, and there we go. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video, and as always, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.